Hello, legends, and welcome to Blunt Force Healing Podcast, episode 289. We are approaching very closely to the 300th milestone, but still 11 updates to go. Today is day 289, which means this podcast and blog is going for 289 days straight from the very start. There's 289 blog posts alongside with parallel podcast episodes that have been recorded since. So something that I'm very happy about and that I keep going without any break. Of course, if you're new to the podcast or blog, it will be hard for you to catch up unless you have plenty of time. But blog posts are not very long, probably easier to digest, and also they should be tagged properly. There is a nice search element. If you're interested in specific topics, you might find something of value across the historical data. But if you don't want to go back in history, this is fine. Join me on that ride now, and let's go further together. So the whole project's idea is to keep going with one core routine and to start something of essence. And it's very hard to say that is actually something of essence because I use that project, meaning blog and podcast, to journal about daily life. So it's not the fanciest or the most entertaining, I would say, topic for most of the people, but I needed to start with anything. And the worst part is to overthink start when you want to write a blog or you want to start a podcast. And this is what holds most of the people because they think about what theme they should use, what topics they should discuss, uh, you know, what tools they should be using, and how frequent they should be doing those things. And obviously, while these questions are very important, they are not ones to dwell on too long because the longer we think about starting, the longer we don't start and we go into the future. And after months of considerations, we realize that we could have started with anything months ago, and now that our brain might be slightly clearer, we could be adjusting our content and start doing whatever we want now. But at least we could have built trust, history of content, and a lot of things along the way, and learn a lot of things in terms of marketing or the analytics, observe how our posts are going, improve on writing, improve on recording, speech, etc. Which, to be honest, like you can be trained in those things, but until you do hands-on and do the practical exercise of writing and speaking in front of camera, you're not getting the most out of it. You're really just getting the theory and some, baseline that will never take off in reality unless you act on it. And that was the main driver for starting this blog and podcast. I wanted to act on it finally and start getting better if I can. And I think I got more confident in recording those videos. It was very cringe at the beginning. It still is, as you can see me. But I'm more comfortable in speaking to camera and to you guys because over time it became less unique in the form of, every time we start something, it's something new. So it's difficult to do it, and it becomes cringe and very hard to do, and people get discouraged and don't do it. And that's what I mean by not being unique in my life. It's no longer unique because I do it for 288 and 89 days now. This episode is 289. So you can imagine that not only I wrote 289 blog posts, which already improved my writing style, even though I wasn't going into any courses or actively working on improvements. It certainly did just by writing, if not in speed and efficiency, then in the style of writing as well. And the same comes to the podcast, but it's a little bit more complicated because I initially started only on audio form. So while recording my voice was a bit easier because people couldn't see me, so I didn't have to be worried about, I don't really know about what, but maybe the way I look, the way I express things, maybe the things I wear, or whatever. Because video updates started just recently, probably about 2 months ago. And this video update is 67th, if I remember correctly. So you can imagine 289 versus 67. It's about one third. One third. Oh, my maths is not the best, I see. No, so if you have 289 days of going and I only did 67 of those, that's 1/5 probably of the whole project when it started in comparison. But still, it's 67 video recordings where I had to get out of my comfort zone and record my face and get through that cringiness and shyness and the fact that I'm not editing any of those episodes. It's even harder, but on the other side, I think it's more beneficial and it exponentially improves the way probably I speak and record things, because there is no that backup option, or not even backup, that cushion in a form of recording the episode and then just spending time on editing little bits, redacting stuff, and just mounting the perfect, or at least close to perfect episode. Now, as you can hear, very often I do which I don't like, but it comes sometimes subconsciously, so I try to avoid them. Also, I do language mistakes from time to time, and this is also fine because I want these recordings to be genuine, and that you feel that you're actually watching a person that really creates it, rather than somebody recording me and editing it so I look nicely like a celebrity, like celeb person in the celebrity, or some actor that is polished, that his material is polished and the content is prepared to the highest quality. Not that I avoid highest quality, I will improve on quality, because for now, and this is also thing to motivate you if you ever planned or wanted to start your blog and podcast, the only thing I am using at the moment is my laptop's camera and laptop's microphone. I don't use any fancy equipment, despite the fact that I have a T-Bone podcasting microphone that I tried a couple of times, and I regret buying it, to be honest, because for some reason Apple did a great job in optimizing both camera and microphone, so they record, I would say, a lot better by default than any other microphone that you will connect to your machine. And while the other microphones might be fancy and more capable in terms of those minute modifications and polishing the sound, the audio. Most of us, people that start blogs and podcasts, we don't have time and resources to sit for hours and edit audio and video. And this is another thing that holds people from starting those pursuits or endeavors and building their own brands. So I want to show you that, as cringe as it gets, I got so far 289 days, of which 67 was recording my lovely face and hands and everything with just a MacBook camera, built-in camera and built-in microphone. I believe that on the way I used that T-Bone microphone, but I recorded maybe one. I'll show you this one. I actually bought it specifically for podcasting, and I was hoping that it will be a great resource. It probably is, if you know how to polish your audio and make it, professional and master it and whatever. But I don't. And I don't think I want to learn it because I'm just a human being. I have limited time on this earth, and if I am to use this time, I will use it for things that bring me forward faster. And I don't want to be audio engineer. If I'll be able to expand on this brand and start earning money, then I will use that to help audio engineers to expand on their experience and work for me to get my audio better. And for now, it works very well. Recording it, it's more than I need. The quality is fairly okay until late evening, where I need to go to the other room and get the brighter lights above me on to make sure that the quality is good, because that camera is great in fair light conditions, but if it goes any dimmer or slightly darker, the grain comes in and the quality is really bad. So sometimes if I'm in the dark place, or the dark place, not mentally, but the darker place, and I can't actually use the lighting, then I will switch to the iPhone, because the phones for some reason have better light management and brightness management, and they handle slightly darker conditions better than the laptop camera. And then I will just transfer that episode to the laptop and upload it to YouTube and Spotify. So this is about encouraging you and motivating you a little bit in starting your own blog and podcast. If you do, please hit me on any of the social media that all the channels are mentioned in the blog. So you can find them on YouTube. You should be able to connect with me on at least Instagram and TikTok, because YouTube allows that on the channel to be on the right hand side of the cover in the channel. Should have icons that you can use to link into my channels. But Blunt Force Healing blog obviously is on WordPress. The channel is on YouTube, and there is another Blunt Force Healing named account on Instagram. The rest of social media like Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok have a handle Propertenor, because it's my original private account that I use for all of them. So if you're interested, head on to the blog. The link is in the description of the episode, regardless where you are. If you're on Spotify audio or Spotify video, there are links in the descriptions. Also on YouTube, you should see the link in the description, www.bluntforcehealing.com. Nothing fancy happened today, so I won't be updating you about today too much. Just a second lesson of Julian's in Tulan Strand in Bundoran. Lovely weather. It's improving definitely. The weather is like the temperature is getting higher and less wind. Sea like the ocean is still choppy, but the guys enjoyed surfing lesson, and it's quite busy at work, so I'm not doing any fancy stuff to update about. Maybe tomorrow something happens, but I would expect that tomorrow I'll be motivating you more rather than bringing some exciting news about what happened. Anyway, I really thank you for being here and listening to that podcast or reading the blog and listening or watching. Your time is precious, and I really appreciate you spending that time on listening and watching me and my channel. So, hopefully, tomorrow something more interesting. If you're looking for motivation, then I have plenty and will be delivering that every single day, regardless of how I feel myself. So, thank you very much for coming again. Have a great rest of the day, night, wherever you are, and stay tuned for tomorrow.